let's talk about stretch and folds, y'all. The reason we want to do stretch and folds is we want to strengthen the gluten strands in the bread so that we can shape it and it will keep form as it is cold proofing and as it is baking in the oven. The reason that is important is during the fermentation process, during the proofing process, it is eating away at that gluten. Sourdough bread is a super healthy, gut-friendly bread because it is pre-broke down, which means you're gonna be able to digest it a lot better than most of your store-bought breads. It also contains all of the good bacteria that your little gut needs to do its job, okay? All right, so we're gonna do our first set of stretch and folds. So as you can see, I've got a real shaggy dough here, and I'm gonna lift this up so you can see. We're just gonna go down the side. We're gonna pull up and stretch and fold over. You're gonna continue doing this all the way around the bowl. As you do it, you're gonna notice that the tension on your dough is starting to build, and that's what we want. Be careful to try and not tear your dough, but if you do, it's not a big deal because we have to do 4 sets of these. That's right, I said 4 sets of these every 30 minutes. So as you can tell, it really has a lot of tension. It's getting harder to pull it up without tearing it. So I'm gonna call it good for that set of stretch and folds. So I will show you stretch and fold sets 2, 3, and 4. Now for the second set of stretch and folds. We're gonna do the same thing, just really dig down to the side of that bowl, lift up, fold over, and work your way around the bowl. You will notice there's a little more tension this time than the first because the dough's not completely shaggy. Cover her up, come back in 30 minutes to do it again, but this next set of stretch and folds, I'm actually gonna switch it up a little bit and I'm gonna do something called a coil fold. All right, y'all, this is our third set, but as I stated before, we are gonna switch it up and I'm gonna do something called a coil fold. As you can see, she's kind of kept some of her shape. It's not a shaggy dough anymore, but because it's been sitting here for 30 minutes, it is pretty loose, okay? So we've got to build those gluten strands as the gluten is being broke down. This set, I'm gonna do coil fold. I'm gonna take my hands. You can actually, I'm gonna wet my hands real quick. Just wet your hands a little bit because the dough is sticky and it will help keep the dough more on the dough and not on your hands during this process. You don't wanna put too much water on your hands because you don't want a super hydrated loaf if that's not what you're going for. I never want to over wet my hands because I don't want to put too much water in my dough as I'm forming it. So with this, we're just going to go in on the back side, down both sides with both hands, and we're just going to very carefully lift up and stretch up, and then we're going to fold over a little bit. Now I turn my bowl. Because this is a bowl and I have a little room to work with, I'm not gonna go back in front end. I'm just gonna turn my bowl. So again, we do the same thing. Lift up. As you can see, as I'm lifting, this dough is coming off of the bowl. Quarter turn, back down again on both sides. Lifting carefully, you do not want to try and put any tears in your dough. Do you see how much tension this dough has between the last coil fold and this one? I'm just gonna continue doing this until I have really great tension. Look at that, look at the difference. You can see it has really got some great tension on there. What I like about doing these coil folds is it actually starts to help me form the dough a little bit, to where I can lay it in the bowl almost like a ball. All right, we're gonna cover her up for 30 more minutes. I'm gonna come back and do a different type of technique with you. It's what I call my slap and folds. This is where I put a lot of tension on the dough and I almost do kind of like a pre-shaping with it before I let it set in bulk ferment. All right, the time has come. We're gonna do our last set of tension building techniques for our sourdough dough, okay? So this next one I'm gonna do is, I like to call it slap and fold. So I'm gonna show you how I do that. I like to flour my surface just a little bit because we are gonna use the countertop for this. We are just gonna release our dough from our bowl by pulling up, kind of like a coil fold. Get that out of the way. And we're gonna take it, smack it on the counter, roll it, pick it up, snack it, roll it, pick it up, snack it, roll it, pick it up. I'm gonna do this probably about 10 times. Creates a lot of nice tension on the dough. I'm gonna put it back in the bowl. And now I'm gonna set my oven to my proofing setting, and I'm gonna let it proof to finish the bulk fermentation process.